Good morning, children. Sairam. Welcome to another session of this chapter. That is lesson number 10 En route to America by Nayantara Sehgal. In the story, we have come to know that Nayantara and her sister Lekha were sent to America for further education. And this was the time of pre-independence period. Okay, and we find that Nayantara did not enjoy the trip, but gradually she started enjoying the company of her fellow passengers on the ship. Once in a day, there used to be an announcement. All hands abandoned the ship. And that time, all the passengers had to leave all their jobs, whatever they were doing, and they had to go to the deck. But what about Nayantara? What she used to do? Let us see now. I could never bring myself to obey the signal at once. I would head straight for my cabin, unbraid my long, thick hair, brush and comb it free of tangles, rebraid it, give it a final pat, and then find my way to the deck. But Nayantara did not do so. She did not run quickly to the deck. Instead, what she used to do? She used to go to her room and then untie her hair, and then she used to comb her hair and again tie her hair, and then when it was okay for her, then only she used to go to the deck. Are you mad? Lekha whispered each time I arrived late on the deck. Late. Who cares what you look like if you are attacked and have to jump into the ocean? I refused to abandon ship looking like a ragamuffin, I declared with dignity. Besides, I have to keep up my morale. Whenever Nayantara used to go late on the deck, Lekha used to tell her that it was foolishness to do so when there is a life and death situation. What did Nayantara say? She never wanted to leave the ship like an untidy person. Ragamuffin means untidy person. And then she declared with dignity, with self-respect, that she wants to look good in order to feel confident. The first inkling we had of our route was when chilly winds began to blow and we started to shiver, having brought no warm clothes with us. Most of the time, we wore cotton slacks and blouses, as saris were flimsy protection against the powerful ocean breeze. So, what is inkling? Inkling means a slight knowledge of something that is happening or about to happen. That is a hint. Flimsy, thin and easily torn. When the cold wind started to blow and they started shivering, they realized that they have not brought warm clothes with them. Most of the time they used to wear cotton slacks. Now what are cotton slacks? Cotton trousers. Nowadays the girls wear leggings, right? So that time it was called as slacks. And blouses, the tops. So most of the time they used to wear cotton slacks and blouses. And saris were of no use because it would not give enough protection against the powerful ocean breeze. Who would have thought that the end of May would be a chilly time of the year? But it was on the other side of the world. And with our teeth chattering, we realized in dismay that we were approaching Australia. It was end of May. So nobody would think that it would be chilly time, that is cold time. But they realized, when their teeth started chattering, they realized that they were nearing Australia. Australia is to the other end of the world, means it is to the southern side. So when we have summer season, hot climate, they are having autumn. It's very cold. On a cold, windy day, our ship sailed into Melbourne Harbour. We stood on deck, clad in our thin cloth coats, trying to gaze out through the dense fog. So they arrived on the Melbourne Harbour. It is the coastal city of Australia. What they were wearing? Thin cloth coats. Okay, and they were trying to see from the thick fog. It was very foggy. All we could see was a few twinkling lights piercing the curtain of mist here and there. But I was delighted at even this small glimpse of land. Did you ever think we would get to Melbourne? I marveled. No, said Lekha flatly. And what's more, I don't think we ever will. What do you mean? I demanded indignantly. What's the meaning of indignantly? In an angry or surprised way due to unfair treatment. As it was cold and foggy, they could not see much. They could see only some twinkling lights. But the author was happy even to see a glimpse of land, as she was homesick. Then she thought that they will be able to see Melbourne. But Lekha said that they cannot. At that she was angry. Okay? My dear child, she explained patiently, don't you ever hear what goes on around you? Civilians are not allowed to go ashore. It was disappointing. We had to content ourselves with what we could see from the ship. Now, what's the meaning of civilian? A person who is not a member of the army or police force. Lekha explained her that civilians cannot go ashore. So it was very disappointing for her. So they have to be happy with whatever they could see from the ship. A military friend brought us each a metal kangaroo and a wooden boomerang as souvenirs, and that was all we saw of Australia. What is boomerang? Boomerang is a curved flat piece of wood that can be thrown so that it will return to the thrower, traditionally used by Australian Aborigines as a hunting weapon. You can see the picture of boomerang. So this is used by the Australian natives. They hit the target and come back to them. For hunting they use, right? So the military person, what he gave? He gave as a memento only this boomerang and a metal kangaroo to the girls. Standing in a corner of the deck, looking out at the lights that evening, I felt very lonely and wished with all my heart that the harbour was the familiar one of Bombay. She was feeling very lonely and homesick and wished that the harbour would be of Bombay. It was so dark that I did not see someone come up beside me. I turned with a start when a friendly voice said, "Hello." I could almost hear the grin in it, as it went on to ask, "Did I scare you?" It was so dark that she couldn't see a person come beside her. When that person greeted her, she was startled and she could understand that person was smiling and he must be amused because she was shocked. Here you see Nayantara talking to that person. You did, I replied. I was wishing I could go ashore. I was ashamed to admit my homesickness to a total stranger. Too bad you couldn't. You must be pretty tired of this boat. Been on it long? I came on board at Bombay. Really? His voice registered interest. Had you been in India long? All my life. Nayantara was ashamed to admit to a stranger about her homesickness. Then again, that stranger started asking whether she was tired of the long journey. She said that she had boarded from Bombay. So he was more interested. Again, he started asking whether she had been in India for a long time. She said yes, all her life she was in India. You weren't born there? Yes, as a matter of fact, I was. Were your parents missionaries? This was really too much. Didn't it occur to him that I could be an Indian? No, I replied curtly. They were not missionaries. I am an Indian. I was born in India and have lived there all my life. What's the meaning of curtly? Rudely. Again, he asked her whether she was born in India and whether her parents were missionaries. She got very angry. She thought, why this person is not understanding that she is an Indian? So she very rudely answered that her parents were not missionaries and she is an Indian. She had been in India all her life. Now, who would have thought that? Was his unabashed rejoinder. You speak English as well as I do. I tried to think of a withering reply to this, but he had begun asking questions again. Are you going to school in the States? What's the meaning of unabashed? Not ashamed. Withering, intending to make somebody feel silly or ashamed. Why he never believed that she was an Indian? Because she could speak English very well. Now Nayantara was irritated with his questions and he wanted to give him a fitting reply. But then again he started asking questions. He asked whether she is going to school in the States, that is United States. He continued, oblivious of my cool silence. No, I am going to college. He chuckled and said, same thing. In the States, we call it school. And then, as if it had suddenly occurred to him, he added, how come you decided to go abroad at a time like this? So, what's the meaning of oblivious? Not aware of something. The man was not aware that Nayantara was getting angry. Again he asked whether she was going to school in States. She got angry and she said that she was going to college, not school. Then he was amused and he said that in States they call it as school. Again he asked, how come she has decided to travel at this time? This time means wartime. War was going on, Second World War. So how come she has decided to travel during this war time? Because I am not allowed to study at home, I replied. You see, at home, students have to promise not to take part in political activities. Political activities? He asked, bewildered. She said that she was not allowed to study at home. And students in India, they have to promise that they should not take part in political activities. To this, he was very confused. I thought to myself, for the past 9 months, my family has been in jail for wanting their country to be free, and nobody outside India knows anything about it. Out loud, I patiently explained, you see, at home, we are not allowed to say what we think. If anyone says he wants freedom for India, he gets locked up in prison. She wondered. Her parents were in jail for 9 months, and nobody knows outside India what is happening in India. So she explained him that in India they were not allowed to say what they thought, and if anybody asked for freedom, they used to get locked up in prison. My companion whistled his surprise. You don't say! And here I have been away from home for a year, fighting a war for freedom. It's enough to make Hitler laugh up his sleeve. I could not suppress a giggle. You giggle just like an American girl, he said in a pleasant surprise. The man was surprised, hearing that in India people have to promise not to fight for freedom. He says that he is an American and he is away from his home fighting for freedom. Then he cracks a joke and says Hitler would have laughed secretly at the idea of fighting for war because he did not allow such thing. Hearing this silly joke, Nayantara also started giggling. Seeing her giggle, he said that she giggles like an American girl. So children, with that we come to an end of today's session. Whatever is left will be taken in the next video. But at the end of this video, there will be a link. You have to click on the link and submit your answers. Goodbye.